NBA, Draft Underdog becomes basketball's ultimate lockdown star. Episode 101. Back in the locker room, the Knicks players were all cheering. This victory is too important for them. D'Antoni came to the dressing room. Celebrate with the players. It's so beautiful to win today. You guys are amazing. Today's win is the best game played this season. Curry, UAE, Dior, the performance of the three of you is almost impeccable. I believe that in this team, you will play the best of yourself. The three players nodded fiercely. In the previous team, the atmosphere of the team was not very good. Even, some people don't have a chance to express themselves in the team. It's a bit of a suffocation. But inside this team, they felt a sense of unity. I felt the care from my teammates. The most important point is that in this team, the desire to win is very strong. Even, they have a feeling that this season, they will achieve very good results. While the players were still immersed in joy, Lin Dong came out and said jokingly, "Don't relax after winning the game. We are not very good at running in. We must seize more time to train and run in. I propose that everyone train together tomorrow." Nate sighed helplessly. "Big brother, you're here again." "Spare me." Gallinari and Hill showed the same expression. Looking at the painful expressions of Nate and the others, Lin Dong ruthlessly debunked. "Don't pretend. Recent training, you are more active than me. I'm afraid if I don't say it, you will all practice secretly." Curry and others heard this. I didn't find it strange in the slightest, but I liked the atmosphere. The atmosphere between teammates is very good, and everyone is working hard. Such a team will make people progress. UAE was the first to speak. "Okay, I'll be there early tomorrow." Then Curry also readily agreed, "I will definitely come tomorrow." Nate spread his hands, pretending to be a little helpless. "Okay then. Then I'll come with you." D'Antoni's eyes flickered. This team is the team he dreamed of leading. Keeping it that way, this team is absolutely full of endless hope. Lin Dong, on the other hand, kept surprising him. He was still a little worried that Lin Dong was too young, will not be very comfortable with their current role. However, he found his worries unfounded. Lin Dong was almost born with the temperament of being a leader. Leadership, influence, all well done. When on the field, encourage teammates and comfort them. When off the field, train hard with your teammates. Maybe this team will do better than the Suns. At this time, there was a loud noise at the door of the dressing room. The team staff came to tell me why. There are a lot of reporters around the door. They want to interview Lin Dong. As soon as D'Antoni wanted to speak, Lin Dong spoke first. "Tell them, let them wait. I'll go out right away." "Okay." After a while, Lin Dong walked out of the dressing room. When the reporter saw it, he immediately surrounded Lin Dong. Countless cameras took crazy pictures of Lin Dong. Countless microphones arrived in front of Lin Dong. Journalists rushed forward. "Let's go to the press conference room first. I'll go over with my teammates later. Whatever you want to ask, I will answer them all." Since Lin Dong said so, the reporter took a few photos and left here in an orderly manner and went to the reception room. Lin Dong returned to the locker room and said to Curry and the others, "Curry, UAE, Dior, wait for you to go to the press conference with me." After speaking, he looked at D'Antoni. In general, press conferences go to 2 people, but Lin Dong wanted to bring 4 people. D'Antoni immediately understood Lin Dong's intentions, so she nodded at him, "No problem." Just when several people were still resting and tidying up, the UAE's mobile phone rang, and it was Dayo who called. As soon as the phone was connected, Dayo's excited voice was heard. "UAE League, congratulations. In the first game, I won the Nuggets. I watched the live broadcast. You played great tonight." UAE smiled. "It's okay. Tonight was really enjoyable. How did you get along with Lin Dong?" "I was so surprised to see that you guys actually became teammates." Hearing Dayo's question, Alien glanced at Lin Dong. "Very good. This little brother is very good. Get along. He takes care of me. I have a feeling that he is the older one. The atmosphere here is also good and they encourage my style of play." Hearing this answer, Dayo was also very happy. He knows the UAE. The UAE has good physical talent and good skills. However, the reason of personality, coupled with the reason of the style of the ball, has not been played. Now hearing him say this, he is much more relieved. "This is great. I have always said that you are very strong. Here you will definitely play your true level. You guys have a good run-in together, and when you return to the national team, it's up to you. You give the phone to Lin Dong, I'll talk to him." The UAE walked to Lin Dong's side and gave the phone to Lin Dong. "Dayo, he wants to talk to you." UAE Lian took the phone with a smile. "Lin Dong, you can do it tonight. Got the Nuggets down." Episode 102. Lin Dong smiled. It's okay. They played well tonight. You are quite modest. I see that you have prevented Anthony from dying in the end, and you have scored key goals in a row. He was too hasty in the end, so he gave me a chance." When it comes to attacking, Lin Dong still feels that he is inferior to Anthony. After all, the title of attacking the kaleidoscope is not a random shout. The final winner is mainly due to mentality. On his side, he was calm enough, while Anthony was too eager to get it. Dayo said, "You and the UAE have a good run-in. I am optimistic about you this year." After hanging up the phone, several people were ready, and they came to the press conference together. Because it is the first game after the team's new lineup, it has attracted a lot of attention. Coupled with the team's victory over the second-ranked Nuggets in the West, it is even more topical. There are a lot of reporters here this time. Almost the entire reception room was filled. D'Antoni walked in with 4 players and immediately became the focus of attention. The staff moved a few more chairs up. Everyone sat down. As soon as they sat down, the reporters immediately scrambled to raise their hands. "Don't worry, we will answer all the questions today." Lin Dong saw such a warm scene and said. D'Antoni casually pointed to a reporter. The reporter immediately stood up excitedly and asked questions. "May I ask Coach De, is the team sending David Lee away and Harrington to help Lin Dong?" Although everyone has already guessed the same, but the reporter still wanted to hear D'Antoni himself. Hearing this question, Curry and others also looked at D'Antoni's, and they were also curious about D'Antoni's plans for the development of the team. D'Antoni moved the microphone. "In fact, there are already explanations on this issue on the internet. Now I will officially announce here, yes, Lin Dong will be the only core of the Knicks in the future. But the team's trade wasn't about fixing him, he got it himself. The purpose of the deal is to build a team that is more in line with his style of play. That's it, and we believe that we have seen that Lin Dong is a qualified leader." When answering this question, D'Antoni was unusually serious, because this is a serious matter and must be announced with a very correct attitude. After getting the official answer, the reporters nodded one after another, and then the camera in their hands took more frequent shots. Sure enough, it was the same as everyone guessed. Still, the reporters on the scene found it a little incredible. For a lost draft that played less than 10 games, the team sent away a bunch of talented players, including an all-star. It's still a little too crazy. This courage, this audacity, is shocking. Another reporter asked. "Then why did you pick Curry and them? Is it because of their three-point shooting ability?" D'Antoni was expressionless, and answered directly after listening to the question. "First of all, their three-point shooting ability is really outstanding, and with them on the court, they can maximize the space. But if you think they only have three-point ability, then you are wrong. Each of them has a very unique aspect, and their ability is much more than what they show now. Some people say we're a shooting team, and I don't deny that, but we're much more than just a shooting team." Once again, it was affirmed by D'Antoni's. Curry was heartwarmed by 3 points, and determined to play well and help the team get better results. After asking D'Antoni's, the reporters tilted the question towards Lin Dong. "May I ask Lin Dong, you have become the core of the team in 7 games. What do you think about this matter?" Lin Dong thought for a while, and then began to answer. "First of all, it must be fun. Suitability is an affirmation of my strength, and at the same time a kind of importance that the team places on me, but it's also very stressful. But this pressure, I think I can withstand it and lead the team to better results." The reporter then continued to ask questions. "What do you think of your new teammates?" Lin Dong turned his head to look at them. Then he replied with 4 words, "Very good. You've seen their performance tonight, and you can hardly find anything wrong. But I'm sure it's just the beginning, and they're going to get better and better. Together we will usher in an era of our own at the Knicks." After Lin Dong finished speaking, the reporters applauded. Thunderous applause broke out in the reception room. "You beat Anthony in almost every way tonight. Against Anthony, what do you think of Anthony?" Just on the other side, they asked Anthony what he said about Lin Dong. Anthony's answer was very bad. He also expressed his disbelief in this showdown. Lin Dong thought for a while and then answered, "Anthony is the top scorer in the league and a very great player. There's no doubt about that. Even though I did better than him tonight, that doesn't mean anything. There's a lot to learn from him, and I'll work harder to catch up with him." Lin Dong's answer was modest, but this is also what he really thinks in his heart. In terms of offense, he is indeed not as good as Anthony now. His offensive tactics are worth spending a long time learning by himself. On the field for performance, off the field to learn humbly. This is Lin Dong's attitude towards basketball. At this time, the Bobcats had just finished a game. He had a dismal 8 points and 4 rebounds. The team also lost by a big margin, but he doesn't care too much about this, but more about the Knicks' performance tonight. So after the game, back in the dressing room, he couldn't wait to turn on his phone. He wanted to see news of the Knicks fiasco, but seeing the result, his face instantly became gloomy. Episode 103. What? No way, they actually beat the Nuggets? Seeing the result of the Knicks' victory over the Nuggets, Harrington was immediately dumbfounded. A rookie in his early 20s, with a group of pitchers, actually defeated the Western Giants. Harrington was a little reluctant to believe it was true. This is almost completely different from his previous speculation. He clicked on the statistics of the two teams. Then, again dumbfounded. Lin Dong 29 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 blocks. UAE 21 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 5 of 8 three-pointers. Curry had 19 points, 7 assists, and 4 of 7 three-pointers. Dior had 10 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. Everyone's performance is so good. Even if you change your own Dior, the performance is also very good. Harrington was already disappointed when he learned that he had been traded. Later, I learned that I was replaced by Dior. It was even more angry. A Dior actually changed me. Mill's head must be broken. As a result, his first performance was a nightmare. Dior, on the other hand, is comprehensive. It must just be that they feel better tonight. It must be like this. Even after seeing the results, Harrington comforted himself. The general manager of the Bobcats was disappointed in his office at this time. He traded Harrington in the hope that Harrington would be the leading scorer on the bench. But who knows, the first game will be so dismal. Dior, on the other hand, played smoothly. He began to regret it a little. This deal, am I pitted? In his heart, he couldn't help but have such thoughts. The results of the Knicks' narrow victory over the Nuggets were widely reported by the media. Does anyone else think the Knicks management is wrong? In the first game, the Knicks responded strongly. The Knicks continue their winning streak. Who will stop them? The Knicks narrowly beat the Nuggets, and the shooting brigade proved to the league that they are strong. Lin Dong has upgraded again, and the new king of the Knicks is unstoppable. Many teams have attracted a lot of attention to this game. Among them, the Raptors are the most concerned. Because they are now 9th in the East, 3 wins away from the Heat, who are 8th in the East. There's a chance to make the playoffs, but the Knicks have won 8 straight and are now just 0-5 wins away from them. It's about to catch up with yourself. Now, it's harder to get into the playoffs. The Heat are equally nervous. At 35 wins ahead of the Knicks, it seems like a lot, but can't help the Knicks win so streak. The Spurs, Suns, and Nuggets are 3 Western Conference powerhouses. It has been shown that the Knicks are strong overall right now. If you want to continue to fight like this, you will soon have to catch up with yourself. The ranking of the East is very polarized. The number 1 Cavaliers and the number 2 Magic are almost far ahead of the other teams. And from 5th to 8th, the difference in wins is not very big. So every team has a chance, but at the same time every team is dangerous. There is only a third of the season left. So every year after the All-Star, the competition for playoff ticket spots has entered a white-hot stage. Extra intense. Right now on the other side of the globe, the news that the UAE joined the Knicks and that the Knicks defeated the Nuggets caused a very big sensation. Lying Groove, I still fantasized about the picture of the UAE and Lin Dong playing together, but after a few days, they actually arrived on the same team. Me too, I thought I could only see it with the national team. The result actually came true, and I still feel a little too fake. Did you read the report? The Knicks head coach personally said that Lin Dong is now the boss of the Knicks, perhaps when the Knicks traded to the UAE, that is, because of Lin Dong's relationship. No matter what his reason is, the Knicks are now my home team, and with the Knicks games, I must watch them all, and the Lakers don't watch them all. In yesterday's game, the Knicks played so well that they actually beat the Nuggets. Especially in the last moment, my heart mentioned the throat eye, and then Lin Dong ruled the game. Every picture of the ball, I can immediately recall in my mind. Wonderful. Lin Dong is awesome. It's not just Lin Dong, the UAE played well, scored 4 consecutive 3-pointers in the opening game, and the Nuggets were dumbfounded, haha. Not only the fans, but also, Zhuang TV was surprised. Director Zhang and director Su also felt incredible. I had the feeling of dreaming. There was no news at dinner that day, but I didn't expect such an explosive news, isn't it? I also called the UAE and Lin Dong, neither of whom knew either. Originally, I was worried that after such a big adjustment of personnel, the Knicks were unfamiliar with it, and the result surprised us again. I'm so happy. I'm happier than I won the lottery. No, I think we still have the opportunity to go to the Knicks again and do another live broadcast. A must. This is a big event in Siag was basketball. After the two finished speaking, they went to find the leader of Tylee again. The leader was also very excited and immediately agreed. However, you can't just broadcast any number of performances. Look for the kind of game against a strong team, especially a strong team like the Lakers Cavaliers. In this way, the ratings will definitely hit a new high. Episode 104. At this time, in an office building in New York. The office building is very grand, and there is a particularly large logo outside the building. It's a very tick. That's right, this is Nike's New York lobby. General Manager Blake looked at a piece of news with a solemn face. The headline of the news was, D'Antoni personally admits that Lin Dong is the sole leader of the Knicks. As a New Yorker, see news like this. Coupled with the Knicks' recent record, they should be very happy, because Lin Dong is the one who can lead the Knicks' revival. But Blake was different. He had just received a call. It was from Nike headquarters. To him as a scolding, said that he was not good at doing things, and let him sign Lin Dong a week ago. As a result, the contract has not been successfully signed so far. During this time, Lin Dong led the Knicks to 2 straight wins. It also defeated such a strong enemy as the Nuggets. Coupled with such a move by the Knicks, Lin Dong's value has more than doubled all of a sudden. It was supposed to be possible to sign for a slightly higher endorsement fee, but now it has to pay a bigger price. The headquarters also told Blake that if he couldn't sign it, he would let him go to the store as a shopping guide. Nike is the biggest sports brand. If he is fired by Nike, it is almost impossible to find an equivalent job among your peers. So he went to the shopping guide. It is not impossible. Bump. At this time, the office people were knocked. Come in. Blake said coldly, because he knew who came in. It was his assistant Mike. Trembling, Mike pushed open the door and stood in front of Blake's desk. Keep your head down, like a child who has done something wrong, waiting for criticism. Boom. Blake slapped his desk hard, and there was a loud sound in the quiet office. Mike was startled. Mike, remember what you told me in the first place? You said that you would definitely be able to get Lin Dong. The result? It's been more than a week now. What did you give me? Blake gritted his teeth and wanted to beat Mike up immediately. Mike knew that Blake was his boss, so he just kept his head down and was silent at this time. You're playing silence with me now? If you can't sign Lin Dong, you can go to the store to be a shopping guide. Hearing this, Mike panicked. General manager, I went to find Lin Dong and called Lin Dong a lot, but he didn't pay much attention to me. He still said that. Blake raised an eyebrow. What words? He said, if you want to cooperate, then let you carry a big contract, go to him personally. Mike's voice became quieter and quieter. I am afraid that this sentence will be lively Blake again. However, Blake still got angry, picked up a stack of papers on the table, and threw it at Mike. You didn't tell me before, only now. Do you know how much it costs to sign Lin Dong now? Do you know how much of an impact this has on our performance? And your relationship with Lin Dong is like this. Does the devil know if I was still useful in the past? Although Blake said so, he was ready to go to Lin Dong in his heart. Now he has no choice. He must sign Lin Dong, otherwise he will suffer. Mike swallowed a mouthful of spit, tentatively asked, then shall we go over and look for him? Of course I found it, otherwise you want to be a shopping guide? Don't want to. Blake's breath became heavy. Let's get the contract ready first, as soon as possible. Then you go check the Knicks' next schedule, and within this week, make sure to sign him. Here no. In the last sentence, the Blake opportunity was roared out. Heard. I'll do it right now. After Mike finished speaking, he quickly left here. After a while, Mike returned. General manager, the next trip to Linux is a week in a row, and the day after tomorrow to Charlotte, against the Bobcats. So they should leave tomorrow. Going to Charlotte tomorrow? Blake whispered. After thinking for a while, he raised his head and said, okay, then we'll go to Charlotte. This shows that we are sincere. You go book your ticket now, and go to Charlotte tomorrow. At this time, Lin Dong was training at the training venue. Almost the entire Knicks team arrived. Originally, the team also arranged training today, but it was more relaxed. But after Lin Dong proposed, D'Antoni simply increased his training volume. Because the team has 3 new players, it is urgent to need more time to grind. And, because of sending David Lee and Harrington, Lin Dong was determined to be the core. Therefore, the team's previous offensive system must all change. D'Antoni took the previous Suns system and modified it, completing the new tactics. Run. Hurry up. Hurry up to the bottom corner after passing the request. UAE League, pay attention to the quality of the block demolition. Nate, shoot decisively. D'Antoni was holding the tactical board while directing the players to run. The team started training at 9 a.m. It didn't end until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Such intensity is almost crazy, because during the competition, the intensity of the competition itself is great. The players are more tired, so the average team will not arrange a lot of intense training on the rest day. But when the team members saw Lin Dong, they had been training tirelessly. That is, spontaneously followed. And after training, no one complained either. On the contrary, I enjoy the feeling. At the end of the training session, D'Antoni called the players together. Everyone go home tonight, try to rest early. Go to Charlotte tomorrow and try to stay in good shape and head towards a 9-game winning streak. Episode 105. Charlotte Bobcats are Dior's previous team. It's also the team that Harrington is on now. The Bobcats are now 6th in the East, 5 wins ahead of the Knicks. If you beat them, you can narrow the win gap to 4, and the Bobcats could also fall to 7th in the East. The highlight of this game is undoubtedly the battle for the old owners and the playoffs. Both Harrington and Dior want to show themselves in this game. The next day, the Knicks flew to Charlotte. Charlotte, a city with a mild climate and green grass. After getting off the plane, Lin Dong felt extremely comfortable. Then, everyone took the bus to the hotel. Just when everyone arrived at the door of the hotel, they saw 2 very familiar figures. Nate took the lead in greeting. Blake, Mike, why are you 2 here? Blake smiled and looked at Lin Dong behind Nate. Then he said to Nate, we're here on a business trip. Lin Dong didn't know Blake, but saw Blake and Mike's position. It can be roughly speculated that his status is higher than that of Mike. Okay, then let's go first, don't disturb you, Nate said and walked into the hotel. Lin Dong and the others followed. Blake didn't really want anyone else to know about it, so he was just embarrassed to speak. But after the person was gone, he regretted it a little. Looking at Mike beside him, was Lin Dong inside just now? And Mike nodded. Then why didn't you tell me? Now the people are gone. Blake rebuked. Mike had to bow his head innocently and accept the rebuke. It's not that you don't know, he muttered softly in his mouth. Coming to the hotel, everyone came to the room to rest. 2 people live in a room, and Lin Dong and UAE live in one. Brother Lien, listen to you a song, it's very good. Lin Dong sat on the bed, took out his mobile phone, and said to the UAE, what song? Chinese or English? In English, I'll show it to you. With that, he started playing songs on his mobile phone. I kiss a Dagerlanda liked. Theta stuff her terra capstick. After a song was played, Lin Dong opened his eyes very enjoyed, then asked, how? Isn't it very good? UAE nodded, not bad. However, I usually rarely listen to English songs, and I listen to Chinese a lot. So who do you like to listen to? I listened to it more complicated, but Joe Jieluan listened a little more, saying that, he took out his headphones and handed them to Lin Dong. Lin Dong took the headphones and put them on. Scare, there are a few rounds waiting in the ring. Life and death wins what sneers. About this song, Lin Dong is also familiar with it. In my previous life, I liked to listen to it. After listening to a song, Lin Dong did not evaluate the song, but carefully looked at the headphones. This headset has a strong sense of atmosphere, energy, a large sound field, and high separation. It's easier to hear details, such as instrument positioning, so you can be immersed. Sounds so much better than your own in-ear feeling. No wonder NBA players like to wear this. Lin Dong suddenly remembered one of the more famous headphones in later generations, Beats. James took a stake in Beats in 2008. In 2014, Microsoft acquired Beats headphones for 3 billion yuan, but at this time, this headset has not yet caught fire. So Lin Dong knows the commercial value of this headset. James endorsed his own headphone brand, so can he also endorse other headphone brands? Since they all have to endorse, Lin Dong's first thought is domestic brands. It's just that he doesn't know much about domestic brand headphones now. So, he had an idea. That is to spend a certain amount of time to understand the headphones. Then find a company with more potential and take a stake in them, coupled with his increasing influence, to promote this headset. Of course, the most important thing in headphones is the sound quality. So how to find a good headset has become the key. While Lin Dong was still pondering this matter, there was a knock on the door of the room. Lin Dong went over and opened the door and saw Mike and Blake standing in the doorway. Lin Dong, I'm really sorry to bother you at this time, but we have something we want to talk to you about. Is it convenient for you now? Mike said politely, completely without the condescending feeling of the first meeting. Lin Dong looked at Blake beside him. This is our general manager, Mr. Blake. This is Lin Dong. Mike hurriedly introduced Blake to Lin Dong. It turned out to be the general manager. Now Lin Dong understood their intentions. Okay, you guys wait for me. I'll change my clothes, and we'll go to the hotel cafe to talk. Okay, let's go to the cafe and wait for you first. Blake said. Lin Dong nodded. After Blake and the two left, Alian asked, these two seem to be the two people who were just at the door of the hotel. Are they looking for you? They are Nike and want to talk to me about cooperation. UAE remembered that his sneaker contract was about to expire. I don't know what kind of endorsement fee I can sign. The first contract was signed when he first entered the NBA, and it was only a few 100,000 meters a year. Lin Dong changed his clothes and went out. Soon we came to the cafe inside the hotel. As soon as they saw Lin Dong coming, both of them immediately stood up. Episode 106. The two looked at Lin Dong with a smile. Lin Dong, please sit. Lin Dong sat down across from them. Mike called the waiter and then asked Lin Dong what to drink. Lin Dong, what do you want to drink? The corners of Lin Dong's mouth rose slightly. This time Mike learned smartly. Give me your signature coffee. No sugar. Thank you. After Lin Dong finished speaking, Blake also immediately said to the waiter, we're the same. After ordering coffee, Lin Dong looked at Mike and Blake. Mike took out a contract from his bag and handed it to Lin Dong. Blake went straight to the point. This is the contract we have drawn up for you, you see. As a result, Lin Dong did not immediately read the contract, but asked casually, aren't you here on a business trip? Mike immediately explained, the purpose of our business trip is to talk to you about cooperation, and that's what we think is the most important thing. I did something bad before, and I hope to get your forgiveness. This time, our general manager also came to visit in person, hoping to promote cooperation between us. After Mike finished speaking, Blake continued. Mike told me everything, and when I went back, I criticized him. Last time, I was going to come by myself, but I was busy with things, so I asked him to come on my behalf. But I didn't expect him to provoke you. I'm really sorry. So this time, we also came to Charlotte with you, hoping to reach a cooperation. Lin Dong smiled and did not speak. Then I started flipping through the contract. Lin Dong didn't understand the other terms very well, so he went straight to the endorsement fee there. 30 million in 5 years. Hearing Lin Dong say the price of the contract, Blake quickly explained. Yes, this contract has been agreed upon for a long time and confirmed. This endorsement fee has exceeded many current stars, but we believe in your potential and popularity. Blake's emphasized the value of the contract. I was afraid that Lin Dong did not understand the market, and still thought that this contract was low. However, before Lin Dong again, he checked a lot of contracts endorsed by stars on the internet. This price is indeed relatively high. Even some long-established stars, many of them are not as high. It seems that this time, Nike is indeed very sincere. In fact, Lin Dong didn't care much about the attitude of Blake and these people. He has the temperament of a businessman, and he cares more about earnings. As long as the contract is satisfactory to him and it is beneficial to him, he does not mind signing it directly. However, 3 days ago, 2 other sports brands have already come to themselves, Audi and Reebok, respectively, and the endorsement fees offered by both companies are higher than Nike. Audi's is 4 million in 5 years. Reebok is 10 years and 70 million. Blake and the two carefully observed Lin Dong's expression, very nervous. Finally, Lin Dong put down the contract, and Yun said lightly, for this price, I do see your sincerity. Hearing this, Blake's tight heart finally relaxed. There is drama. However, Lin Dong continued, but 2 brands came to me a few days ago. Which 2? Blake immediately asked. Audi and Reebok. and the price they offer is higher than yours. Blake, who originally thought that he was going to succeed, hung down in his heart. What kind of price did they offer? Blake asked anyway. Lin Dong said with a smile. Audi opened 5 years and 40 million, and Reebok opened 10 years and 70 million. As soon as he heard this price, Blake couldn't wait to scold his mother in his heart. Are these two crazy? Such a high price was offered. This is already a contract for a top star. Crazy. It must be crazy. Blake was crazy about these two in his heart. At such a high price, the chances of him winning are almost minus. However, thinking of what the headquarters asked him of, Blake decided to try to fight for it. Audi and Reebok's this time is really big, but considering the brand influence, they definitely can't compare with Nike. You know, brand influence has a very big impact on a star. More than 90% of NBA players are the face of our Nike. You can also refer to them from their choices. Nike is definitely the most suitable. And Nike's basketball technology is far superior to them, and we can make the best sneakers for you. It allows you to play your best on the pitch and protect your body more. Lin Dong did not interrupt Blake, and in the process of speaking, he just listened quietly, then nod from time to time. Of course, Blake is right. Nike is far better than the other two brands in these aspects. This is also the reason why many players would rather give up the high endorsement fees of other brands and endorse Nike. However, Lin Dong didn't care about this. After Blake finished speaking, the waiter just brought coffee. Lin Dong took the coffee and took a sip. It tastes good, you taste it too. Blake and Mike looked at each other, then picked up their coffee and took a sip. However, because it is sugar-free, all two people do not like to drink it. But after tasting it, he said, "It's delicious." Then, the two looked at Lin Dong expectantly again, waiting for Lin Dong's reply. Lin Dong was not in a hurry, but after thinking for a while, he replied, "I'll think about it again. After all, I'm not very familiar with things about contracts. I need to ask my agent to help me compare. So be it. I'll think about it and I'll get back to you." Blake knew things were probably yellow. The price difference is so much, it is difficult to say anything. If he wants to reach a cooperation now, the only way is to go back and tell the headquarters about it and apply for a higher price. But whether he can apply or not, he doesn't know. Okay, think about it too. Lin Dong took another sip of coffee. Then the waiter was called. "How much are these 3 cups of coffee?" Seeing that Lin Dong wanted to pay, Blake hurriedly stopped it. "I'll do it. That's you we came to find." Lin Dong nodded. "Okay, then thank you." After saying that, he got up and left. To talk about such a thing as cooperation, it is originally to first look at the price, and when the price is right, we can continue to talk. If the price is not good, there is no need to talk about it at all. After Lin Dong left, Blake sighed deeply. "It's over, 80% is over." Mike said tentatively, "We can go back and apply for the price with the headquarters, and the headquarters must not be willing to give up a player like Lin Dong." Blake smiled bitterly. Even if we really apply for the price, Lin Dong's impression of us is not so good. He will think that we are waiting for the price and selling, and the headquarters will also think that we are incompetent. Mike's heart also fell. At the thought of becoming a shopping guide, he was 100% reluctant. "So do we still have to apply?" "Of course I want it. Do you just give up like that?" Blake said loudly, "It's all to blame on you. If you hadn't come up with some bad idea, maybe we would have succeeded." Episode 107. The next day is match day. For the match against the Bobcats, the players are full of confidence. Although the Bobcats are still ranked higher than the Knicks, the players are scrappy. Dior, in particular, knows that trading in the NBA is the most normal thing to do. He is also only a Bobcat who came last year, and his feelings are not deep, but he was still unhappy in his heart. Be sure to play well in the game and make the Bobcats' top brass regret the deal. The Bobcats are generally very defensive, and the 2 stars are good defensive players. Steven Jackson plays as a small forward, but often plays as a shooting guard, has excellent offensive ability, and is also strong defensively. Not only that, but his most impressive thing is his trash talk. Can spray from the field to the field. Among the active players, he is on par with Pierce. Another player, Gerard Wallace, plays as a small forward. He looks very fierce on the surface, but he is actually very humble. He was also the first All-Star player in Bobcats history and was dubbed Elvis Presley by fans. Although he is not the highest in the team, he is the core of this team. He cares more about defense, and no matter what dirty work he does on the court, he will do it first. Therefore, his state can stimulate the morale of his teammates even more. Since Lin Dong entered the NBA, the Bobcats should be considered the best defensive, and it is directly in line with the 2 defensive titans, which is not a small challenge for Lin Dong. D'Antoni was in the hotel's audio studio, setting up tactics for everyone. In general, it is still the implementation of shelling tactics. If the hand feels bad, let Lin Dong single. The players have no problem with this. However, Lin Dong put forward a different opinion. "Coach, I think this one can set Diodor a little tactic. Let him organize the attack in a high position. Do you think this will work?" After speaking, everyone looked at Dior. The purpose of Lin Dong's action is very clear. that is, to hope that Dior will play good data. Dior hurriedly said, "No need, the current tactical arrangement is very good, no need to give me more arrangements." Lin Dong said again, "This fight is not only for you, but also for the team. High position, that's what you're good at, and it's a good tactic for shelling." D'Antoni nodded. Lin Dong said yes, high position strategy is originally a very important offensive tactic for small balls. Then I'll change today's style of play, you guys listen well. Then, D'Antoni began to set up tactics for the players. In fact, this set of tactics, when training before, was also trained. But because D'Antoni is mainly Lin Dong, he doesn't practice much. Since Lin Dong proposed it, you can still give it a try. And it has a very good effect on the cohesion of the team. Dior looked at Lin Dong and couldn't help but have more respect for this young man. At this time, the Bobcats were also laying out tactics. The Knicks have won 8 straight and their current strength should not be underestimated. Jackson and Wallace, you two, I will always let one person defend Lin Dong today. Although Lin Dong is young, his playing style is very mature, and he is already the core of this Knicks, and how to pinch this is the key. Their interior linemen also have 3-point shooting ability, so when they encounter blocking, they must prevent it. So today was a big challenge for our defense, and everyone had to be more positive. With that, he glanced at Harrington. Harrington's performance in the last game disappointed him greatly, but Harrington's offensive ability cannot be wasted. Harrington, you have a big advantage against their interior in this game, so you have to attack resolutely, you know? Harrington said confidently, I will blow up their inside line. If there's one person who hates the Knicks the most, it's Harrington. He thought he was the boss of the Knicks, but the Knicks turned around and traded himself. I still used a player like Dior. He was extremely angry in his heart, and he not only wanted to blast the Knicks inside line, but also burst Lin Dong. Meanwhile, the Nuggets have a game today. Anthony didn't play well in his last game, resulting in a final loss. There are even many comments on the internet that Anthony is inferior to Lin Dong. Such remarks, for Anthony, are unacceptable. This time, he riveted and prepared to do a big job. Let's see what the league's top stars are. The game is near. The Bobcats arena was packed. There are a lot more fans than usual. Most of them are die-hard Bobcats fans, and many of them are coming at the Knicks and Lin Dong. Lin Dong's vigorous playing style and strong playing style have attracted many fans. There are so many people today. Is this the case usually? Not really. Unless you play a strong team, it is rarely like this, and many fans are rushing to Lin Dong today. Lin Dong took Anthony down last time. I just wanted to come to the scene to see if he was really that powerful. Awesome, super awesome. Not great. Can the Knicks send David Lee away? If he keeps performing like this, he will definitely be a superstar in the future. Coming, they're in. Episode 108. 2 teams of players enter the field. First, the Knicks players entered the court. Strangely, there was a warm applause at the scene. Lin Dong looks much more handsome than on TV. Don't say, Lin Dong has the temperament of a leader. Because many fans came to Lin Dong, when Lin Dong appeared, it caused heated discussions among fans. At this point, the live commentary begins to warm up. This game between the 2 teams is very interesting. The first point to watch, Dior and Harrington swapped owners. This is the first time the 2 players have played against the old owner. Who can give a better performance against the old owner? The second 2 points, Lin Dong and Jackson and Wallace. The 3 players are particularly strong defensive players, so who has the stronger defense is also a very big expectation. The third point to watch is undoubtedly whether the Bobcats can stop the Knicks' winning streak, and the Knicks' recent form can be described as imposing. So will the Bobcats end the Knicks' winning streak at home? Under the high voice of the commentary, the players have all entered. The coaches of both teams are making final arrangements before going on the field. D'Antoni's, the tactical setup is complete and I'm sure you'll all be able to perform at your best. Everyone let go of the vote, don't have mental baggage. If there is a problem, I will go and call a pause. On the other hand, Bobcats head coach Larry Buelang emphasized the defense of Lin Dong. Jackson, Wallace, you two must lock Lin Dong and not let him score easily. If Lin Dong doesn't play smoothly, then the Knicks' offense will stagnate, Jackson said confidently with disdain on his face. His opponents were too gentle before, and I gave him a good look at what the NBA is and what a fierce defense is. Jackson's means, Buelang knew. However, he did not intervene to stop it. After all, this is also an aspect of the NBA. As long as the referee doesn't blow, it's a good defense. Before coming on, D'Antoni emphasized a point to Lin Dong alone. Wait for Jackson next, you must calm down. Whatever he says, you don't care. If his defensive move is too big, you will simply fall, remember. When Lin Dong heard this, he probably guessed what he meant. It's nothing more than a lot of small actions and likes to spray garbage talk. These are nothing to Lin Dong, who has been a person for 2 lifetimes. Okay, I see. After that, he walked onto the court. Although Lin Dong said this, D'Antoni was still worried. After all, Jackson's means he had seen. It's not too much to say he's a court bully. The first time Lin Dong met such an opponent, he only hoped that there would be no problem with his mentality. Both sides took to the pitch and the game was about to begin. The starting lineups of both sides are Bobcats, point guard Raymond Felton, quarterback Jackson, small forward Wallace, power forward Theo Retrieve, center Tyson Chandler. Knicks, point guard Curry, quarterback Lin Dong, small forward Gallinari, power forward UAE, center Dior. The scrum was snatched by the UAE, and the Knicks executed their first defense. Curry dribbled through the half, and Diola came out to block it. This change immediately attracted the attention of the interpretation. Today's Knicks play a bit strange, and the opening game is actually the blocking of Curry and Dior. Dior's high-level strategy is very different from the last game. The general opening tactics determine the normal core play. Is the Knicks ready to play like this tonight? Coach Buelang is also a bit blindfolded, featuring Dior? What kind of tactic is this? Dior's abilities he knew. It is a good ability to respond, but if he is the main one, the ability is still a little worse. And don't hit Lin Dong, hit Dio, he really can't understand. Other teams have players with outstanding abilities who can't wait to keep playing. D'Antoni was good and actually let the star play without the ball. Buelang squinted, looked at the game on the field, and thought. Back on the field, Dior took the ball high. Curry and Lin Dong ran around Dior. Jackson has been following Lin Dong closely, inseparable. Lin Dong suddenly stopped at the free throw line and made a block for Curry who had no ball. The blocking was done very tightly, directly blocking Felton, who was following Curry. Jackson did not choose to make up for it because his attention was on Lin Dong. In an instant, Curry got a chance to go down in an open position. Dior's eyes lit up, and he immediately passed the ball held high. Curry catches the ball and hits high on the board. The ball was played very simply, but because of Lin Dong's excellent covering quality and Dior's timely passing, so this opportunity was created. Of course, Jackson's defense is also an important reason, but Jackson did not care about this ball, but kept following Lin Dong. Trash talk began to squirt out of his mouth. Yellow-skinned boy, are you afraid of my defense, so you dare not attack with the ball? Also do off-ball cover for other people, and if you're afraid, go back to the development league. This is not for you. After speaking, Jackson was still a little smug. His trash talk always works, making others angry. Then play emotionally and play poorly. It's some old players who are not calm in the face of his trash talk, not to mention rookies. However, Lin Dong didn't even look at him. It seemed like his words were not heard. At this time, Jackson was a little unhappy, and continued, "Rookie, are you deaf? Didn't you hear when you talked? The Knicks is really stupid, and actually chose a deaf person as the core." Episode 109. No matter what Jackson said, Lin Dong was still unmoved. It seemed that there was a radio next to it that had not been turned off, and he still ignored what he said. The Bobcats attacked, and Felton pitched a mid-range shot. It's back to the Knicks offense. It is still Dior's high-level policy. Lin Dong ran quickly past him and took his hand-handed pass. Instantly attracted the defense of the two. Lin Dong did not hesitate, jumped up at the first time and passed the ball to Dior. Dior received the ball and immediately passed it to Curry on the outside. Seeing Curry's empty seat, Jackson immediately pounced on Curry again, but Curry just clicked and immediately passed the ball to Lin Dong on one side. Seeing that he was deceived, Jackson immediately turned the car around and rushed towards Lin Dong. Lin Dong also made a shooting feint. Jackson saw that Lin Dong was about to shoot and immediately flew over. But Lin Dong, this is also a shooting feint, seeing that Jackson has taken off, so he immediately prepared to let the ball break through. But Jackson didn't want to cap it at all. Instead, the whole person pounced on Lin Dong and knocked Lin Dong to the ground. Lying on the ground, Jackson said deliberately, "It's okay. I didn't mean to, but I think you're so young, you shouldn't be broken." Beep. But the referee blew a shooting foul at this time. 3 free throws. Lin Dong stood up with the help of his teammates, turning his head to look at Jackson. "It's okay, it's not bad, it won't affect the free throw." Jackson suddenly gritted his teeth. Unexpectedly, this Lin Dong would mock him in turn. "It's okay," Dior said with concern as he hugged Lin Dong's back. "It's okay. Mere trifle," Lin Dong said with a smile, "then walk up to the free throw line." D'Antoni pinched a cold sweat for Lin Dong off the court. A foul like Jackson's is very dangerous, and if the person who is fouled is not prepared, his head is likely to brush directly on the ground. Seeing that Lin Dong was okay, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, he was still worried about Lin Dong. Judging from Jackson's ball, he seemed to be eyeing Lin Dong. It's not a good thing to continue with such fouls. Lin Dong scored 3 goals on a steady freefall. Then he looked at Jackson again. "Look. Free throws are still so steady." Jackson's facial muscles twitched, and his heart became more and more angry. It would have been a foul on his own initiative. How come it seems that Lin Dong is on the road now? Turning around, the Bobcats attacked. Lin Dong defended Jackson, and he did not cling to Jackson. It's a little distance. Jackson has good offensive ability with the ball, and a one-stop jump shot is okay, but the three-point shot almost touched. This season, the three-point shooting percentage was just a measly 236%. Jackson took the ball, and Lin Dong deliberately stood back a little more, then made a pleased gesture at him. Jackson originally wanted to attack the inside with the ball, but saw Lin Dong like this. "Where can I endure? The pitcher is a three-pointer." Clang. However, the basketball was deflected and the UAE confiscated the rebound. Jackson took a deep breath from his nose. immediately followed Lin Dong again. This time, he was more closely aligned than his previous defense. Lin Dong around the bottom corner, Jackson a little can't keep up. It just so happens that this is again the blind spot of the referee's vision. So, he reached out and pulled Lin Dong. Lin Dong was pulled by this, and his speed instantly slowed down. Jackson, on the other hand, took the opportunity to catch up. Lin Dong ran to the 45th corner on the left and received the ball. Jackson immediately followed suit again. Because it was very tight, it just gave Lin Dong the opportunity to break through. Because the defender is passive and follows the attacker to make choices. So when the stick is very tight, the attacking player breaks through, and it is difficult for the defender to immediately chase sideways. Seeing that Lin Dong was about to break through himself, Jackson was when Lin Dong came to his side. The same hand stretched out his elbow and hooked Lin Dong hard. Such a defense is, of course, foul. However, because of the field of view, the referee cannot see, so there was no whistle. Lin Dong couldn't break through and pulled the ball back again. Looking up, he saw Jackson with a smug look. How? Do you want to try again? Lin Dong glanced at the referee, and the referee did not say anything. He knew it was Jackson's defensive trick, and he should have done this often, already skillfully dodging the referee's blowing penalty. Seeing Jackson's appearance, Lin Dong tilted his head. The corners of his mouth are slightly hooked. Lin Dong's strange expression made Jackson a little puzzled. Could it be that this kid was hit stupid? Suddenly, Lin Dong started again. The speed on his feet was still fast, and Jackson estimated that he would repeat it. But the result is different. Lin Dong burst halfway through and felt the power of Jackson's elbow, suddenly retreated to the side. Then he fell to the ground and slid on the ground for a meter away. Jackson was stunned. I didn't push too hard, huh? How did it fly out? Beep. At this point, the referee blew the whistle. Defensive foul. Knicks ball. At this moment, Jackson was stunned, then immediately rushed to the referee. I didn't use force, he flew out by himself, he faked a fall. But the referee ignored him. He looked at Lin Dong again and found Lin Dong looking at him innocently. Only then, he finally understood what Lin Dong's expression just now meant. It turns out that this kid is calculating himself. But it was too late. Just 2 minutes into the game, Jackson received 2 fouls. Buying had no choice but to replace him. Jackson, of course, was 10,000 reluctant. Coach, I can still play. It was Lin Dong's kid who faked it just now. I'll pay attention later. But Buying just waved his hand, not wanting to hear him say more. It was obvious that he was a little disappointed. Before going on the field, he stressed to him to prevent Lin Dong. The ones who could face Lin Dong were him and Wallace, but they received 2 fouls so early, disrupted all his strategies. How could he not be angry? On the other hand, D'Antoni was indeed very happy. Originally, I was still worried that Lin Dong would not be able to hold back his temper. But I didn't expect Lin Dong to get Jackson off the field first. Nate was on the field at this time, and his mouth was cracked with laughter. This kid is quite similar to what he learned by fake falling. Episode 110. Buying spread out his hands incredulously, his eyes widened. The expression almost froze. What is this doing? Harrington's hand operation, he did not have the slightest preparation. Never met a player like this. Isn't this a joke about the game? Lin Dong was not much surprised by Harrington's behavior. After all, he is such a wayward player. Before the Knicks, they often didn't care about the team's victory or defeat for their own performance. Ignore the coach's arrangement. Since you are looking for a fight, then I will fulfill you. Lin Dong waved his hand to signal his teammates to pull away. The teammates immediately understood and all pulled away to the sides. Because the Knicks players on the court all have 3-point shooting ability, so they pulled outside the 3-point line, and the Bobcats had to follow outside the 3-point line as well. In this way, the space of the inner line especially opened. Harrington looked increasingly excited. He clapped his palm hard towards Lin Dong. Rookie, even if I leave Knicks, you are just a rookie. Come on. Let me see what you're capable of. The corner of Lin Dong's mouth smiled. Continuous crotch, slowly approaching Harrington. Boom. Boom. The basketball passes through the left crotch and comes to the left hand. Through the right crotch again, to the right hand. Harrington kept hunched over, his arms open. His eyes stared at Lin Dong deadly. Lin Dong dribbled the ball to his left hand in his crotch, and suddenly took a step. Suddenly started under the feet. I only heard the basketball explode on the ground vigorously, and then Lin Dong roared past Harrington like a sports car. Harrington wanted to follow, but found that he couldn't keep up at all. I could only watch Lin Dong pass by. In the blink of an eye, Lin Dong arrived at the basket, then take off and dunk the big windmill. Boom. The dunk was so powerful that it felt like the basket was going to be shattered. Even the fans at the scene couldn't help but applaud the ball. Oh my god. This is also too powerful, and Harrington was past in 1 step. This dunk is simply flying in the sky. If it weren't for his skin being so white, I would have thought it was Jordan just now. No wonder the Knicks want to establish him as the core, and they are too strong. But after all, it is the home of the Bobcats, and the fans only whispered in amazement. There was no clapping or anything like that, but the commentary on the scene was very exciting. Incredible. It's incredible. Passing Harrington in 1 step, it's as easy as training. This dunk, whether it is in terms of stretch, bounce height, or strength, is a full score. It's so pretty. Harrington, this ball, find yourself a bad one. I wanted to teach Lin Dong a lesson, but I was taught to be a man in turn. Haha, the UAE immediately rushed over and bumped chest with Lin Dong. Seeing his compatriot little brother playing such a good ball, it seems that he is even happier than he has done it. And Harrington's face is ugly. He was just now very confident, convinced that he could prevent Lin Dong. But unexpectedly, the ending was to make Lin Dong out of the limelight. Even more tragic, when the ball was over, Dwyane called him to his side. "What were you just doing? Did you keep your team's victory or defeat in mind?" Harrington wanted to explain. "I'm confident I can stop him. It's just." Before he finished speaking, Dwyane reprimanded again. "I don't care what you think, but on the court, you have to follow my pre-match arrangement. If you're like this, you can get me down and sit on the bench to calm down." Dwyane's tone was heavy. I also didn't want to hear Harrington's explanation at all. Players who do not listen to the coach's arrangements and act on their own are the most disgusting to the coach. So even if Harrington really defended the ball, he was not satisfied with Harrington. Harrington snorted and turned back to attack. However, I didn't feel that there was anything wrong with doing so. On the contrary, he only felt that it was Lin Dong's fault, and it was Lin Dong who made himself ugly. And the coach does not understand himself. In this case, he believes that the coach can only understand himself if he plays better. So, back on offense, Harrington immediately got back into position and started asking for the ball. Wallace hesitated, but passed the ball to Harrington anyway. After all, in the last offensive round, he succeeded in singled Gallinari. Harrington again held the ball in front of him. Swing to the right, then break through to the left. Once again, pass Gallinari. Only kill the basket. Collect the ball in 3 steps, raise one arm, and prepare to dunk. However, 30 centimeters away from the basket, 2 hands appeared at the same time. Syllable. The moment the UAE and Lin Dong took the ball in Harrington, they had already been ambushed on the side. The moment he jumped, the two jumped off the cap almost at the same time. Then both hands swing on the ball at the same time. Make a crisp and loud sound. Harrington fell to the ground because of the cap. Lying on the ground, looking at the tall figures of the two. It's atrocious. 2 caps at the same time. Harrington was pushed to the ground, begging Harrington's heart shadow area at this moment. The 2 commentators, seeing this ball, widened their eyes almost at the same time. The mouth forms a round shape, enough to put an egg. Subsequently, a sympathetic expression was made. Can't bear to look directly. The caps are wonderful, but the game goes on. Gallinari was the first to grab the basketball because of his position. Pass it to Curry immediately. Curry quickly advances the ball into the front court. And Lin Dong didn't have a moment stay, rushing to the front. NBA, Draft Underdog becomes basketball's ultimate lockdown star. Episode 111. The Bobcats team was also the first to return to defense immediately. Curry quickly came to the basket. In the process of dribbling, he turned his head and used his afterlight to see the 2 Bobcats players behind him. At the same time, he also saw Lin Dong behind him. So accelerate the breakthrough and take 3 steps. Smashed the basketball the rebound. 2 Bobcats players jumped on the block at the same time, but jumped up and realized that it wasn't a layup. But because the basketball is too high, it can't be touched. I can only watch the basketball bounce back. Lin Dong arrived on horseback. Soaring into the air, he turned sideways and controlled the basketball with his right hand. Spread your body fully, force from behind your shoulders, and slam the ball into the basket. Boom. The scene fell silent. After a while, a burst of exclamations began to sound. Is this a dunk contest? Just a perverted dunk, and another one after a round. Shock. The 2 people in front blocked Harrington, turned around and contributed a tomahawk split. It was too shocking. Lin Dong jumped too high. It's almost jumping at the free throw line. Do you see that? Shoo. Is this Lin Dong? That's awesome. Although the fans at the scene supported the local Bobcats, they couldn't help but praise such a wonderful goal. After that comes envy. Who doesn't want their home team to have such a player? However, it can only be envy. Boom. It's so exciting. Lin Dong's physical fitness is probably even more powerful than this year's champion Griffin. Just looking at the dunk, who would have thought that he would be a Siagwa? He completely subverted my perception of the Siagwa, and it turns out that the Siagwa people can also fly. The 2 commentators were completely shocked. Harrington had just stood up. Standing under the basket from afar, watching Lin Dong on the other side of the court spread his wings and dunk. Listen to the praise of Lin Dong by the people around him. And himself as a background played in the rest of the population. For the rest of the round, the game returned to its normal rhythm. Harrington no longer goes to defend Lin Dong alone. And Lin Dong once again made a wedding dress for his teammates, highlighting the role of Dior. Pick up Dior's high position. He plays off the ball and even covers for his teammates. Dior also lived up to expectations. He had 7 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds in the quarter. The Knicks also led the Bobcats 38-20. In the second quarter, Jackson put on the squad again. However, it had little effect and could not bring the score closer. In the end, the whole game is over. The Knicks won by 110-93. Win 9 in a row. Dior, the best player of the game, 23 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. Lin Dong's performance is still stable, 20 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 steals and 3 blocks. And it took only 11 shots. Most of the time, he was looking for teammates. And then the defensive end still gives it its best. On the other side, Harrington scored 12 points and Jackson 10 and committed 5 fouls. Compared with the performance of Dior and Harrington, Dwyane immediately regretted it. He must have had a bad brain, and the general manager only agreed when he told him that Dior exchanged Harrington. Dior and his teammates hugged each other. Share the joy of victory. The fans at the scene were envious and jealous. Envy and jealousy are naturally all towards Lin Dong. If you hate it, it's to the management. Hey! Lin Dong would be nice if only we were a Bobcat player. Bobcat's management must have broken brains to trade Dior to Harrington. When I see Harrington, I'm angry, beating so rubbish, and blindly beating. Dior, quasi-triple-double. It's a pity it's the Knicks. Originally, they didn't like Harrington very much when they saw it. And this time, Dior performed well. They were even more angry. The Knicks' offense right now is really fluid and has a very Suns feel. Lin Dong is now more and more like a leader, and he easily got comprehensive data, and also drove his teammates to play well. The average age of this Knick is very small, but the age structure is reasonable, and the future is promising. Don't talk about the future, they will definitely be able to make waves in the league this season. The game on the Knicks side is over. On the other side, the Nuggets vs Pistons game, Anthony was powerful. Crazy cut, 51 points. However, the game was fought until the last minute when Billups hit a fatal mid-range shot. Nine was interviewed by reporters after the game and asked why the game had a high score. Anthony replied confidently. Is 51 high? It's not that I didn't get more than 50 points. I can get it easily whenever I want. I played a bit poorly in the last game, so this game increased the desire to attack. Then I got 50 points, and that's it. The reporter can clearly feel that Anthony is worried about the last game. It seems that he wants to prove his scoring ability with this game. So during the game, crazy shots. Shot a lot of irrational balls. The game that could have been easily won was dragged off until the last minute. The reporter asked, the Knicks just beat the Bobcats, do you think the Knicks have potential this year? Anthony was slightly stunned and asked with a smile. Potential? Potential to win the championship? Haha, they've been doing well lately, but they're still too young and the lineup is a bit unreasonable. You know, it's hard for shooting teams to get better results. During this time, many teams are not familiar with Lin Dong, and they are not very accustomed to their playing style, and after a while, they will be targeted by various teams, obviously revealing their true level. Let's wait and see. P.S. The players who appear in the book, I don't know if the readers are familiar with them. Maybe it's a little bit old, after all, it was all 10 years ago. If you feel strange, please leave a message in the book review area, and I will reduce the supporting roles later. Finally, thank you for the End Big Guys tip. Episode 112. Same problem on the Knicks side. The reporter also asked Lin Dong. The Nuggets narrowly beat the Pistons just now, and Anthony scored 51 points, what do you think about that? Lin Dong shrugged. The last time I was interviewed, I said that Anthony is a great star, he has a great ability to score. So it's not surprising to me that he can score 51 points. And when I go back, I may watch the video of his game and learn his offensive methods, haha. After Lin Dong finished speaking, the reporters on the scene were also amused. Then the reporter asked about Dior's performance. Dior played very well tonight, do you think he will continue this form? Lin Dong answered immediately. I've always said that my teammates are great. It's the same with Dior, he has a very good strategy, he can pass, he can score, he can guard, he is very good. So his performance tonight was either an overnormal performance or a normal level. Lin Dong and Mills were when he said the teammate he wanted in his heart. The three players who name it, think a lot. The least of these is emotional reasons. He decides by considering the quality of the players, how fit they are with the team, how easy it is to get along with, and of course, the feasibility of a deal. Therefore, the three players he chose are definitely the three players he thinks are good. There are also reporters interviewing Dior. Dior, how do you feel about coming to a new team? If you were to compare two teams, which one would you prefer? Dior frowned. This is not a difficult question to answer. The Knicks are always a young team. Lin Dong and Curry are both rookies this year, only in their early 20s. This team is very dynamic, everyone is giving their all on the pitch and I enjoy it. If you want to say which team you prefer, that's not a good answer. But maybe the Knicks are a little more suitable for me. The reporter continued to ask. Lin Dong is only 20 years old, are you definitely a qualified leader? When asked about this topic, Dior hardly thought much, and just blurted out. Is he only 20 years old? If you don't say it, I would have thought he had been in this league for 10 years. You know what I'm talking about, it's that when he plays, he shows great maturity. He would take his teammates to train with him off the pitch, encourage them on the pitch and comfort them. At the same time, he leads by example and puts 120 points of concentration into every game. I don't have anything more to say about ball skills, one word, strong. He is the most qualified leader I have ever met, and I believe that under his leadership, the Knicks will create their own brilliance. Dior praised Lin Dong and gushed endlessly. And it's all from the heart. From Lin Dong's performance on the court, to taking his teammates to practice off the court. Then in this game, he and the coach offered to play more of themselves, and he already had great respect for Lin Dong. In his heart, Lin Dong is the best leader. The reporter asked again. Then can you name a spit point on Lin Dong? On this issue, Dior thought for a while. Spit point? I really have to think about it. He's so good that it's hard to find anything bad about him. But if I have to say it, it may be that he eats too slowly, and he has to eat 3 people every time he eats, ha ha ha. And he hasn't invited me to dinner yet, ha ha. Dior said, deliberately pouting. Immediately laughed. The reporter wanted to look for Harrington, but could not find him anywhere. However, one reporter said that he seemed to see Harrington shed tears and hurried out of the venue after the game. After the game, everyone returned to the hotel. Nate had just sat down on the bed. The phone rang, and when he looked at the phone, it was actually Lin Dong. Didn't you just come back? Why call me? Nate muttered and picked up the phone. Take a walk, go out and eat delicious. As soon as the phone was connected, Lin Dong's excited voice came. Delicious? Right now? Nate asked. I just asked the manager of the hotel and he said that Charlotte has a particularly delicious seafood restaurant, where the lobster is fat and delicious, the seafood soup is very fresh, and even the burgers are very delicious. I listened to the saliva almost dripping. I thought of you first, interesting. I'm leaving tomorrow, so I'm sure I'll eat now. Hurry up. Nate sighed. This is really very Lin Dong. He just wanted to agree, but after a pause and asked, then who will entertain? Lin Dong cleared his throat, I'll invite. It just so happened that I had just arrived with a paycheck. Okay. I went out right away and rounded in the hall. Nate finally found the opportunity for Lin Dong to entertain. I don't know who sets the rules of bullfighting, and the one who loses treats. As a result, he had already invited Lin Dong to eat many times, and he had not eaten Lin Dong's. Slaughter him well this time. Hanging up, Nate was just about to go out. Remembered Hill in the same room. It's not appropriate to leave Hill here alone, and good things are to be shared. Hill, go out and eat delicious. Hill touched his stomach and immediately agreed. Coming to the hall, Nate thought that there were only 2 people, Lin Dong and the UAE. It turned out that the team was all there. It's the bad manager. Wow. Lin Dong, you are really going to bleed a lot today. Episode 114. NBA, the opening game gets a death entanglement. Episode 116. The team's next 2 games are against the Washington Wizards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Both teams are the bottom teams in the league. Among them, the Timberwolves are already openly rotten. So with both teams, the Knicks won easily. Lin Dong played an average of 30 minutes and averaged 24 points, 7 assists, 55 rebounds, 5 steals, and 2 blocks per game. Returned to New York with an 11-game winning streak. After this wave of 3 consecutive away wins, the team's record has reached 28 wins and 29 losses. Ranked 9th in the East. The Heat, who are 8th in the East, are just 1 win away. That is, the Knicks win another game and the Heat lose, and the difference between them and the Heat is even. However, because this season, the 2 teams have 2 wins and 1 loss for the Heat, so the Heat's ranking will still be higher than that of the Knicks. That would require the Knicks to outperform the Heat in winning. But it's only a matter of time. Back in New York, the Knicks received a warm welcome from fans. For the first time since Ewing, Knicks fans see hope. The last time the team made the playoffs was in 2003 to 2004. So seeing the team's winning streak, the long-lost enthusiasm of New York fans was ignited again. When everyone got off the plane, they saw the huge billboard at New York's airport with a change of cover. The character on the cover is Lin Dong. Lin Dong held a basketball, wearing the Knicks number 11 jersey, and looked forward with a firm gaze. There is a large line on the cover. Lin Dong. Symbol of New York. To be honest, Lin Dong saw this billboard. It's a bit shocking, it's so big that almost everyone who comes to the New York airport can see this. And through this title, Lin Dong could guess that New York was trying to create momentum for itself. Determined to promote himself as a long-lost superstar in New York. New York is a megalopolis, so the team here needs a star 259. And Lin Dong is the most suitable candidate. After getting off the plane, everyone went home. Consecutive away games made everyone very tired. Lin Dong also returned home and immediately rested. But the reports about Lin Dong have indeed not stopped. New York Times, Lin Dong's jersey sold out for the third time, sold out in 3 hours, and the two-moon jersey topped the NBA sales list that month. ESPN, phenomenal player, Lin Dong is making history. Nation, 11 consecutive wins. The longest winning streak of the season. Knicks Phoenix Reborn. The latest issue of Sports and Sports magazine also once again featured Lin Dong as a cover character. Siagwa Farron. Use strength to tell you who is the strongest rookie. The latest issue of the Slam newspaper still uses Lin Dong as the cover character. The new king of New York ascended the throne and won 11 consecutive victories. Those who questioned Lin Dong and the Knicks before all closed their mouths at the moment. If it's a 5-game winning streak, 6 wins in a row is luck. Then 11 consecutive wins are definitely a manifestation of strength. Since entering February, the Knicks have averaged 11-12 points per game, ranking first in the league. Offensive efficiency also tops the list. Such offensive firepower left those who initially mocked the Knicks as a shooting brigade speechless. Similarly, those voices that questioned Lin Dong's strength before were difficult to see on the internet. The first 11 games of Lin Dong's career were during the Knicks' 11 consecutive games. He averaged 259 points per game, ranking 6th in the league. He also averaged 43 steals per game, ranking number 1 in the league and ahead of Rondo's 23. Averaging 3 blocks per game, it also ranks first in the league, ahead of Howard's 28. Such data makes people spray. Even Barkley, who has always been loudmouthed, now has only admiration for Lin Dong. Lin Dong, this player is amazing. He's the best outside defender I've ever seen. But that's not the best thing about him is that he's always improving. The progress of others is season by season, but Lin Dong is improving every game. The last game he was still level 5, and the next game became 6. Indeed, as he said, Lin Dong has been improving. Of course, the main thing that progress depends on is the system. The system allows Lin Dong to be rewarded for every game and every training. During this time, Lin Dong also made a lot of progress. The lowest ability to possess the ball has now grown to 77. The passing ability has become 75. Without a doubt, the Knicks are now the hottest team in the league. Even the Lakers are as powerful as the Knicks. All the teams are thinking about how to stop the Knicks' winning streak. How to break through Lin Dong's defense, how to stop Lin Dong. However, some people are curious whether Lin Dong will hit the rookie wall. Rookie wall, almost every player who enters the NBA will experience a period of slump. That's because rookies aren't fully accustomed to the high-intensity NBA game. After a period of competition, you will feel physically and mentally exhausted. Another reason is that rookies who perform well will be increasingly targeted by opponents. This makes it difficult to stay in good shape. But Lin Dong seems to be an alternative. The next day, Lin Dong was still asleep and was woken up by a phone call. It's broker Mark. Lin Dong, did you get up? There is a particularly sincere sports brand that wants to cooperate with you. Lin Dong asked in confusion, what is it called? Under Armour. Episode 117. Create an exclusive Lin Dong brand. Lin Dong, this is according to Jordan's model. Jordan signed with Nike at that time, and after seeing the unlimited potential in Jordan, he immediately created an exclusive Jordan brand. After that, Jordan became a trend, the representative of the trendy brand. Annual sales reach a staggering $25 billion. Lin Dong naturally wanted to do the same. Berkeley fell into deep thought. To create an exclusive Lin Dong brand, he had never thought about it before. New brands are naturally risky, because people don't understand it, so they will be very small in terms of popularity. But thinking about it, Under Armour has no popularity in basketball shoes, and whether there is a new brand is the same. But with 2% of the shares, he needs to think about it. After all, this is not a one-man affair, and it needs to be collectively agreed by the board of directors. After thinking for a long time, Berkeley said, "You can see that you are a very competent and strategic person. But when it comes to shares, I need to go back and report to the board and get their unanimous agreement before the final decision can be made." Lin Dong nodded. "Okay, I'll wait for your news." With that, Berkeley hurried away. Rushed to tell the board the news. He himself is more supportive of this form of cooperation. 5 million a year can sign up to Lin Dong, and the price is very cheap. Secondly, such a thing as shares, making money is money. If the sales are not good by then, the cost will be only 5 million. But if Lin Dong really helps Under Armour create super high profits, it is a win-win result. Lin Dong picked up a cup of coffee and tasted it. The old horse on the side took the test for a long time, and then kept looking at Lin Dong. He became more and more elusive about Lin Dong. Sign a small brand, ask for shares. What a boldness. He had never seen it on a rookie. He could see that Lin Dong did not care about the immediate interests. What is more important is the long term. Originally, he was worried about Lin Dong, but now it seems that he is completely overthinking. Perhaps, with Lin Dong's potential, he can really create a miracle. Then follow Lin Dong's meaning, and then help him check the contract. One more thing, Meta Watch asked you to shoot an advertisement tomorrow. Mark said. Meta Watch shooting commercial? Oh, I forgot. Okay, I'll go over tomorrow. Then Mark took out a book. Flipped over. This week, there are many brands that want to talk to you. You see if there is a suitable one. If it is suitable, we will meet this afternoon. Lin Dong flipped through the book. The book records cosmetics companies, clothing companies, automobile companies, beverage companies, and so on. All of it. Lin Dong needs money now, and he needs money to create his own brand. I also want to open a restaurant. Of course, he does not accept any brand, he will consider the quality, reputation, and so on of each brand. Mark nodded, okay. Then I'll contact them now. After that, Mark started calling. In one afternoon, they met with 3 companies. A cosmetics company, the initial price is 3 million a year, but Lin Dongxiang tried the product before this, he didn't want to be so irresponsible. Then there's a clothing brand. 2 million a year, this one was signed directly on the spot. Finally, a car company with a high price. 8 million a year, but Lin Dong did not agree, but wanted to continue to consider it. After all, there are many car brands, and each brand has its own style, so it is better to find the most suitable for you. After all the talking, it was already 8 o'clock in the evening. Lin Dong was just about to go home when he received another call from D'Antoni's. Lin Dong, didn't you say you were going to open a restaurant last time? I have a friend who runs a restaurant and he happens to be in New York right now. If you want to meet him, we'll go now. Lin Dong was a little surprised. Last time in Charlotte, he casually mentioned things. I didn't expect D'Antoni to remember it now. Okay, you send me the address. I'll go over now. D'Antoni sent the address to Lin Dong, and Lin Dong immediately went directly. Came to a rather large restaurant. Is a Mexican restaurant. Mexican cuisine is popular in the United States because the overall taste is close to the American taste. At the same time, it is more discounted, mostly in the form of fast food. So Mexican restaurants can be found almost everywhere in the United States. It was dinner time, and the restaurant was full of people. Lin Dong got out of the car and saw that D'Antoni was already waiting at the door. De Shui. Lin Dong greeted. Come on, this is the restaurant owned by the friend I am talking about. De Shui patted Lin Dong's shoulder and said. Immediately, the two entered the restaurant. I found an unoccupied dining table and sat down. Soon, a bearded middle-aged man walked over and sat opposite Lin Dong. You are Lin Dong. I heard that D'Antoni said you want to open a restaurant. Yes. It's okay to open a restaurant, but don't open a Mexican restaurant, the bearded man joked. Haha, I'm going to open a Xiaogua restaurant, mainly for my own appetite. I haven't introduced you yet? You started talking directly, D'Antoni said with a smile. He pointed at Lin Dong. This is a player from our team, Lin Dong, from Xiaogua. Then he pointed to the beard and introduced, this is an old friend of mine, Hamor, who has opened more than a dozen Mexican restaurants in New York, Mexican. We first met because I always went to his shop to eat and get acquainted. Episode 118. While speaking, the waiter came up with a few dishes. Hamor greeted, come on, eat something to chat, these are the specialties of the restaurant. Lin Dong picked up a cornflake and put it in his mouth. It is crispy and accompanied by the aroma of corn. Lin Dong nodded and praised, delicious. Hamor laughed. I think Mexican food is the best food in the world. I'm afraid not. Lin Dong vetoed. Maybe you should taste the authentic Xia national dish, you will not forget the taste. Hamor shrugged. I've eaten summer national food in both New York and Los Angeles, and it tastes good, but it doesn't taste as good as Mexican food. Lin Dong pursed his lips and smiled. That's because these dishes are not authentic, so I want to open a restaurant by myself. Then when you open it, I must taste it. After that, Lin Dong began to learn from Hamor. In Hamor's view, if you want to open a good restaurant, you must first do a good job of positioning. Whether it's a high-end restaurant, a low-end restaurant, or a casual restaurant. Different stalls of restaurants, the attraction of customers is different. High-end restaurants pay more attention to service, ingredients, taste, and so on. So you need to work on these, even if the price is expensive. However, low-end restaurants are almost all ordinary families, and most of their purpose of spending is to eat. So the taste is not so important, the most important thing is cheap, as well as affordable. Hamor's restaurant is one of those kinds. At the same time, the positioning of the restaurant is different, and the location is different. Low-end restaurants are generally located near residential areas. High-end restaurants are located next to high-end office buildings. Then he talked about decoration, cooking, management, ingredients, and many other issues. Almost everything. However, hearing all this, Lin Dong had a bit of a headache. Because opening a restaurant, there are so many things. But he didn't have that much time. Therefore, his best thing to do is to find someone who knows how to manage restaurants to help him. Then just make a few points yourself. The three chatted until late before dispersing. On the way back, Lin Dong passed a street. Pleasantly surprised to discover a summer restaurant. And there is a transfer paper pasted in front of the restaurant. At first glance, this boss is from Xiaogua, because only Xiaogua people will do this, and the few characters transferred are also written in Chinese characters. It can probably be guessed that this owner wants Xiaoguaran to take over his restaurant. Lin Dong stopped and walked into the restaurant. There was only one young woman sitting in the dining room. Seeing Lin Dong come in, she immediately stood up. The woman wore a ponytail and looked smart in casual overalls. At the same time, due to the work clothes, the bumpy body is vividly reflected. Big black and bright eyes, a typical Oriental beauty, appeared in front of Lin Dong. Hello. We're closed here. Seeing that the person who came was a Xia countryman, the woman said in Xia Chinese. I didn't come to eat, I saw the transfer paper sticking to the door, so I wanted to come in and find out the situation. Oh, okay, come in and sit. The two sat down at a dining table. Then she began to brief Lin Dong on the situation. The woman's name is Entanglement, and she came to the United States after graduating from college. Because I love the food of Xiaogua, I opened a summer restaurant here in New York. However, because the business is not very good, it has been losing money for half a year. It really couldn't be operated, so Entanglement had the idea of transferring. But she couldn't bear it, so she only hoped that the person who took over could continue to drive. After Lin Dong listened, he nodded. Then get up and look at the restaurant. Overall the restaurant was good. The decoration is very Xiaogua style, and the location is good. But there is one biggest problem, and that is the taste of the restaurant. This restaurant specializes in Sichuan cuisine, which is spicy. The taste of the United States is a little lighter, and it can even be sweeter. So that's why many Americans like to eat Xiaogua's dumplings. The reason is because of the taste. If you want to open a summer restaurant in the United States first, the best dish is to choose the cuisine of the south of the country ostentatious. Okay. Here I decided to take over. Really? Entanglement looked at Lin Dong with a face full of surprise. I haven't said the price yet. Tell me about it. There's still a month's rent here, plus stuff here, etc. 30,000 meters yuan. Entanglement had no confidence in speaking. Because there is only 1 month left, if you can't transfer out, these things are actually worthless. Unexpectedly, Lin Dong directly agreed. Okay, then 30,000 meters. However, I have one more request. I hope you continue to be the store manager of this store. I will give you a salary of 5,000 yuan a month, and at the same time give you 10% of the shares. Do you accept? Huh? Entanglement was a little unresponsive. If what Lin Dong said was true, it would be too beneficial to himself. Originally, she couldn't bear this restaurant, not without a way, and she wouldn't think about transferring. The salary of 5,000 meters, which in the United States, belongs to high wages. And there are also 10% shares. Entanglement was a little suspicious that she had misheard. What you said is true. Lin Dong nodded, of course. Lin Dong is not a person with deep pockets, let alone a person who likes to pretend to be brainless. The reason why he did this is because he does not have time to manage this store, and it is naturally best to have a dedicated store manager. Then it is to rest assured, because Nzue has feelings for this store, so it is natural to take care of it, and it will definitely be wholehearted. Later, because of the change of dishes, coupled with its own influence, this restaurant will definitely catch fire. As a store manager, it must be very tiring. So the high salary plus shares, Lin Dong believes that it is worth it. You prepare a contract. I'll come over tomorrow night to sign and call you the money. And I will come up with some plans, and you will rectify this restaurant according to my plan. Nzue blinked her big eyes and looked a little stupid. He muttered in his heart, isn't this a little too fast? And the conditions are so good that it is like a dream. Could this person have some other purpose? Thinking so, Lin Dong asked again, do you still have any questions? Didn't know. Okay, then I'll leave first today and come back tomorrow night. After Lin Dong left, Nzue watched his back as he left at the door. Stuck in thought. What does he do? So tall, and so handsome. Episode 119. The next day, Lin Dong came to the scene of the advertising shooting of Mito watches. Because of his inexperience, Lin Dong was not satisfied with the shooting many times. Still Perry was always by the side, telling Lin Dong his experience. Lin Dong found his feelings little by little. Perfect. This one is the best one I feel shot. I feel that even if you two endorse the toilet lid, you can sell it out of stock, haha. The on-site director shouted applause when he finished filming the last film. Perry frowned. Your metaphor is terrible. Haha, I'm just using a metaphor, who told you to shoot, the effect is too good. After speaking, he showed the film to Lin Dong and Perry to watch. The confident gaze of the two and the sunny shape make the overall effect look particularly good. It's pretty good. Lin Dong commented. You two have a good image, you look good in everything. The director praised again. I am confident that once this watch is launched, it will be absolutely a fire. Perry glanced at Lin Dong. There is a smile on the corners of his mouth. Almost a few days later, Lin Dong became a little more handsome. This week, Lin Dong has been playing away from home with the team. Perry has been following the Knicks and following Lin Dong's dynamics. Seeing that the Knicks have achieved an 11-game winning streak, she is also happy for Lin Dong. As reported by the media, Lin Dong now has more and more sense of leadership. It exudes a charm all over the body. I'll treat you tonight, let's go out for a meal together. The director proposed. Okay. Perry agreed, and then looked at Lin Dong, go? Lin Dong nodded, go. But I have a place to recommend. Where? When you go, you know, it's not too far from here. Since Lin Dong proposed the place, everyone had no opinion. Lin Dong called Nzue in advance. Ask her to prepare a private room. After packing up, everyone set off together. Came to the door of this restaurant. It turned out to be Xiaoguojiang. I have eaten it several times, and it tastes good. The director saw the signboard and said. Seeing Lin Dong appear at the door, Nzue immediately went out to greet him. Then recognized Perry at a glance. The boss with open eyes. Perry is the only American singer she likes, and she didn't expect to appear in her store today. She couldn't help but think about Lin Dong's identity again. What kind of person can be with Perry? However, she didn't think too much, but beckoned everyone to enter. Come in. A private room has been prepared for you. When Perry saw Nzue's first glance, a bad feeling immediately arose in his heart. Nzue's appearance is no less impressive than herself. And there is also a typical Oriental temperament on the body. Although she is very confident in herself, after all, Nzue is from Xia country. He came from the same place as Lin Dong. In this regard, she will never be able to compare to Nzue. Lin Dong took the initiative to ask to come here. I am afraid that the relationship with Nzue is also extraordinary. So the feeling of worry arises. Let's go inside. Bring you the dishes of the country of summer. Just when Perry was still stunned, Lin Dong came to her side. Okay. After that, the group all entered the restaurant. Under the guidance of Nzue, he walked into a private room. Nzue took a menu and handed it to Lin Dong. Although Lin Dong was about to take over this restaurant, he was only coming over for the second time. I haven't tasted the food here. Take a look at the menu. It's basically all Sichuan food, and the taste is spicy. You should not be familiar with xiaoguojia, then I will order it. Lin Dong said to everyone. The director didn't care, and cheerfully continued, come on. You know which dishes are delicious, you just order. What's more, we don't even know Chinese, and we don't know how to order something. Haha. Perry also nodded on the side, listen to you. Okay, then I'll have some. The more classic Sichuan dishes are all heavily spicy. Americans should not be used to eating. Even Lin Dong himself can't eat too spicy. So he ordered something with a lighter taste. Then he also ordered a heavy and spicy one. After all, he hadn't eaten Xiaoguo's dish for a long time, and Lin Dong also wanted to satisfy his taste buds. Perry kept staring at Entanglement. She wanted to know what Lin Dong had to do with this woman. After ordering the dishes, Lin Dong handed the menu to Entanglement. This one must taste good. Otherwise you wouldn't have taken us so far. After ordering the dish, the director asked. Perry was also staring at Lin Dong. From this question, you should be able to learn some about the relationship between her and Entanglement from Lin Dong's mouth. So she was curious about Lin Dong's answer. Lin Dong said with a smile, actually, I don't know, I am only coming here for the second time. Didn't you come over for dinner the first time? Without waiting for Lin Dong to finish speaking, Perry asked anxiously. If you didn't come to eat the first time, it was probably for this Xia country woman. Perry paused in his heart. The feeling of uneasiness intensified. Lin Dong didn't hear anything, but said slowly. The first time I came was last night. Evening? Perry chuckled inwardly. The big evening came to the restaurant, not yet eating. That's the one who came to see the Xiaoguo woman. Perry guessed worriedly. Episode 120. Lin Dong didn't notice Perry's expression. He continued, because I was going to open a Chinese restaurant, and then when I passed here last night, I happened to see that this place was transferring. So I came in and negotiated, so I'll be the owner of this restaurant from now on. Hearing this, Perry's originally dull face suddenly burst into a smile. So you and the woman just now, the relationship between the boss and the employee? Perry suddenly spoke excitedly, which made Lin Dong stunned. How do you know that I am the owner of this restaurant and so happy? Sort of. But she is also a shareholder here, which can be regarded as a partnership. So that's the case, I thought. Halfway through the sentence, Perry stopped suddenly. Why do you think? Lin Dong asked. Nothing, Perry hurriedly explained. At this time, the director suddenly interjected, I know, you are giving your own store another enrollment. Lin Dong smiled, sort of. But this meal I please. Lin Dong brought so many people to eat for some purpose. It can be regarded as a promotion, after all, celebrities come to eat, so bad is a bit of star effect. And as long as the taste is good, consumers will also spread 10 to hundreds of consciousness to help themselves do publicity. It didn't take long for the dishes to be served. Lin Dong beckoned everyone to eat. All of them were full of praise. Lin Dong himself also tasted a few bites, and the taste was indeed very authentic. Delicious. This is not the same as the summer national dish I ate before, the taste is not the same, it is so delicious. The director praised while eating. Hearing everyone say this, Lin Dong became more confident. Sure enough, taste preferences matter. As long as the taste of the dish is made more in line with the local Americans, the business is definitely very hot. After eating, everyone left. Lin Dong, on the other hand, continued to stay, and he also had to sign a transfer contract with Entanglement. Entanglement took the contract to Lin Dong. Boss, look, this is the contract. Lin Dong concluded the contract and said with a smile, don't call me boss, we are a partnership, you just call me by name. Lin Dong. Lin Dong? Entanglement felt a little familiar when she heard this name, but she couldn't remember where she heard it. After hesitating, Entanglement nodded, okay, Lin Dong. Lin Dong flipped through the contract. The contract is relatively simple, and you can understand it all at a glance. After reading it, Lin Dong directly signed his name on it. Then he gave Entanglement 80,000 meters. 30,000 is the transfer fee, and the rest is for the restaurant to be renovated. By the way, change the name. It's called Lin Dong Restaurant, make a better sign and hang it. Entanglement took a book and wrote down all the things Lin Dong explained. In the future, the restaurant will not make Sichuan food, but will do Jiangnan cuisine. If the current chef can't do it, then hire more, but you must have an authentic chef, even if the salary is high. After that, Lin Dong talked a lot about the idea of the new restaurant. Just while the two were talking inside, there were quite a few people gathered outside the door. Is that person Lin Dong inside? It must be, so tall and so handsome, isn't it who Lin Dong is? Even if he is fully armed, I can recognize him, and I am most familiar with my idol. It turns out that Lin Dong likes to come here to eat, and I will come often in the future. Lin Dong is a native of Xia country, he definitely likes to eat his own cuisine, and I will come often in the future, maybe I can meet him. And Ziyue heard a noisy sound outside the door. So he looked over. There are so many people gathered at the door. Did something happen? Go check it out. Good. After speaking, Ziyue walked to the door. It was found that everyone's eyes were all focused on Lin Dong's body. She also looked back at Lin Dong again. He muttered in his heart, could it be that Lin Dong is a star? Then she turned to the person outside the door and asked, hello, are you guys doing something? One of them spoke, is this still open today? Yes, and Ziyue replied. Okay, boss, too. Please come in. Seeing the two enter the hotel, others followed one after another. They found empty seats and sat down. In the blink of an eye, the originally empty restaurant was already full of people. Then people began to take photos with Lin Dong one after another. And Ziyue watched from the side, confused. Is he really a star? Without much thought, Ziyue took out his mobile phone and began to search for Lin Dong. Then as soon as I opened it, I found that there were many reports about Lin Dong. Xiaoguofei Lin Dong led the Knicks to 11 consecutive victories. New Hope, the rise of the Knicks, Lin Dong is unstoppable. New York New Idol, next stop King, Lin Dong.